A late April sun eased through thin clouds, gilding the cracked asphalt of the Pleasant Valley Fairgrounds. Yellow buses unloaded ninth graders who poured out like marbles, clattering toward rides that hulled the air with calliope music. At the rear of the line of chaperones strode Andrew Blake, Pleasant Valley High's algebra and probability teacher, hands jammed into jacket pockets and a weary smile pinned to his face. He'd argued that a carnival qualified neither as history nor science, but the principal had insisted, "Learning can happen anywhere, Mr. Blake." Andrew's learning goals were simple: return with the same head count he left with, and keep the kids away from anything vaguely edible on a stick until noon. After double-checking the sign-out sheet, he looked up to see a purple and black pavilion pitched beyond the Ferris wheel, its canvas painted with stars and a single silver word, prophecies. A fortune-telling booth. Of course. He could already hear Jimmy Cortez daring three friends to waste allowance money inside. Andrew jogged over. "Stay in sight," he called, though he knew they wouldn't. He pushed aside beads and ducked into dimness smelling of sandalwood. Inside sat a woman in a brocade jacket the hue of twilight. Her hair, black threaded with argent strands, spilled over her shoulders. Candlelight shimmered in her eyes, one green, one storm gray. She turned to him as if she'd been waiting. "Ah," she said, voice low, "the shepherd of numbers." "Afternoon," Andrew replied, tugging the ID lanyard that announced teacher in block letters. "I'm here to make sure nobody leaves poor in every sense," she smiled. "Probability and profit often diverge." She nodded toward three students seated at a round table, their faces wide with excitement, Jimmy among them. "Shall we begin?" Andrew folded his arms. "I'll watch." The woman, Madame Celestine, according to a gilt placard, produced a deck of battered cards. She invited Jimmy to cut. Jimmy did, clumsy from eagerness. 3 cards fanned face down. Madame Celestine flipped the center card, the tower, illustrated as a leaning Ferris wheel struck by lightning. Jimmy laughed nervously. "Expect a jolt," she said, "involving unexpected descent. But you will rise again. Thunder cracked somewhere outside." Andrew jerked. The sky had been clear moments ago. Students laughed, convinced it was carnival sound effects. He suppressed the tingle crawling his neck. Next, she turned to Kayla Osborne, who whispered about upcoming auditions. Celestine tapped a crystal sphere, breathed across it, and spoke of a path bending by fractions of a degree, telling Kayla to choose the unexpected monologue, not the safe one. Kayla's grin blossomed like sunrise. She'd confided the same dilemma to no one, Andrew knew. Then came Malik Turner, who asked nothing aloud. Celestine's gaze clouded. She murmured, "The key you seek lies in a coat left beneath bleachers. Look tonight, not tomorrow." Andrew recalled Malik's recent panic about a lost house key. Coincidence, he told himself. Sensible inference. Still, when the reading concluded and the students spilled out, bubbling about cosmic truth, Andrew lingered. "You don't approve," she said mildly. "I teach them not to mistake pattern for prophecy. Lightning striking on cue? A speaker effect, right?" Her lips twitched. "I wish it were that easy." She swept the cards together. "Care to test me?" He pulled a quarter from his pocket. "Predict the next 5 flips." "An easy 5, she said. "Tails, tails, tails, heads, heads." Andrew arched an eyebrow, flipped. "Tails." He flicked again. "Tails." A third spin, coin tumbled, landed, rolled to a stop. "Tails." A stir rippled Andrew's chest. 4th, heads. His throat dried. 5th, heads. The odds of that exact sequence, 1 in 32. Statistically possible, he reminded himself. Unimpressive. Except the sequence she'd given had flowed without hesitation, like reciting days of the week. She studied him. You're recalculating likelihoods. Would you like something longer? Andrew considered. 1,000 consecutive flips? That would take hours. Then let's choose something swifter. She pushed the deck toward him. Shuffle. He did, bridge shuffling until cards clapped like rain. She asked him to think of a specific card. He pictured the 9 of clubs. She slid one free and placed it face down. There. Andrew turned it. 9 of clubs. Unfriendly prickles climbed his arms. Marked deck, he accused, though he'd inspected the backs. Examine them. She spread the pack like a river of stained glass. He saw nothing unusual. No nicks, bends, or thickness variation. She watched his scrutiny with amused sadness. Seeing isn't believing for you, Andrew Blake. Believing is seeing. How do you know my name? Her amusement faded. Your lanyard gave me your surname, she said. But Andrew arrived unannounced. She touched her temple. Information drifts in. He frowned. Are you saying you see the future? For others, she said quietly. Never for myself. Her gaze slid sideways, as if that confession lowered a curtain between them. My uncertainty is absolute. He opened his mouth, closed it. Candied air from outside puffed in. Laughter rattled the tent walls. I have students to supervise, he said finally. Good day, madame. He stepped out, light stinging his eyes. In the next hours, Andrew followed teens between games and funnel cake stands, but he could not shake the memory of coin flips clinking perfectly into order, nor the hush that came when Celestine admitted blindness to her own fate. He caught himself scanning sky for another impossible thunderclap. Probability, he reminded himself, bends for no one. But probability began misbehaving. It started with Malik, who bounded up brandishing a silver key. Found it, exactly where she said. Andrew nodded, still unsurprised. Madame Celestine might have overheard hallway gossip. Then Kayla squealed that the carnival's tiny stage was hosting an impromptu talent show, and the MC had begged for volunteers. Perfect audition practice, she cried. Andrew raised a brow. Path bending by fractions, indeed, but coincidence lingered plausible. His skepticism strained when Jimmy staggered off the drop tower ride, pale as milk, claiming the car had stuck at the peak, then released suddenly, as if lightning had struck the gears. Maintenance crews swarmed muttering about freak sensor malfunctions, coinciding with a static discharge. Only when Andrew bought lemonade did incredulity falter. The vendor's till contained exactly $9.87 change, Andrew's birth date 9/8/87, displayed on the register without prompting. The vendor stared, saying the register never showed cents. It only tracked dollars, yet there it glowed until Andrew blinked and the cents vanished. Probability wasn't just misbehaving. It was winking at him. He glanced back at the fortune-telling pavilion, tall against afternoon sky. As if on cue, Madame Celestine stepped outside, scanning the midway. Her mismatched eyes locked on his. She beckoned. He left another teacher in charge and crossed the distance. Things are skewing, she said the moment he entered. Her tone lacked theatricality. It resembled a meteorologist warning of barometric dives. I felt it when you doubted. I still doubt, he said, but reality appears to disagree. She nodded, candlelight cutting hollows in her cheekbones. Sometimes, when I meet someone whose path intersects mine profoundly, randomness flexes. Your skepticism is an anchor. My foresight is a sail. Together they warp the currents. Are you saying we're distorting probability? Yes. The effect grows if we remain near. She brushed the velvet table. Every vision of your future diverges wildly, like fractals. That rarely happens. In my future, she exhaled, still blank, but the blankness feels alive. Andrew rubbed his temples. Let's quantify before we mystify. He grabbed a die from a display shelf. A fair six-sided, I assume? Assume nothing. She handed it over. He inspected pips, weight, edges. Seemed ordinary. Okay, he said. I'll roll 30 times. Expectation for each face is 5. Variance root 2.2. If we see extremes beyond that, something's off. She folded hands. Andrew rolled onto the table, tallying aloud. After 15 rolls, the die showed 11 sixes. By 30 rolls, sixes numbered 19. He computed quickly. Probability of 19 or more sixes in 30 fair rolls was about 1 in 10,000. Rare, but possible. He started again. This set produced 21 sixes. Probability, roughly 1 in 1.3 million. A third trial, 24 sixes. Andrew's voice cracked. This sequence chance was practically astronomical. 1 in 60 million. He stared at her. Either you switch dice telepathically, or the universe is listening, she finished softly. It leans towards the improbable when we combine. Andrew sat, hands limp. His rational fortress had cracks now. Hairline, but widening. How long has this happened to you? Since childhood, she said. My grandmother taught reading palms at county fairs. I saw flashes of future, others' futures. So clearly, the present felt dull. But when I turned 13, every glimpse of my own life vanished. I am an island surrounded by everyone else's tomorrow. That must be lonely, Andrew murmured. She laughed lightly. Lonely? Yes, but safer. If I could see my own future, I'd be tempted to change it. Blankness saves me from meddling. She touched a candle flame absent-mindedly. Yet her skin did not blister. Andrew blinked. She'd only skimmed above heat. But right now, she continued, the blankness quivers. Meeting you has stirred something. I fear the ripple for the world. Andrew thought of 30 die rolls defying law, of a stuck ride, of digital displays whispering birthdays. What if their proximity escalated to plane crashes or stock market avalanches? Human intuition told stories. Math measured outcomes. And his numbers screamed. He rose. Then the remedy is simple. We stay apart. Her smile was sorrowful. Possibly. Or we find equilibrium. She reached beneath the table, pulling out a wooden box. Inside lay dominoes, painted with constellations instead of dots. She drew one, handed it to him. Orion, 3-star belt gleaming silver. When fate becomes unstable, she said, I look for guiding stars. They suggest acts that restore balance. And that means, tonight after closing, meet me by the carousel. One last test. Andrew froze. That might worsen things. I've searched every line branching from this afternoon, she said, and found only one constant, you and I meeting there. My inability to see myself ends at twilight. After that, void. Something will choose its path regardless of our fear. He hesitated, unexpected weight pressing him, a sense that what she proposed was not performance but pivot. All right, he said finally, 1 hour after the gates shut. Carousel. A soft thank you drifted as he exited. The carnival closed at 9. Parents reclaimed sugar-drunk teenagers. Buses rumbled away. Andrew lingered by the administrative trailer, pretending paperwork until the last ride stilled. Night settled like indigo powder. He checked his phone. 9:47. Carousel lights glimmered ahead, rotating shadows across sleeping booths. Madame Celestine stood beside a white horse, frozen mid-gallop. Her jacket now shimmered like deep space, moonlight scattered across sequins. You came, she said. Curiosity murdered the skeptic, he muttered. What's the test? Chance must confront choice. She gestured to a long workbench where carnival games were stored. On it lay 3 objects, a revolver with cylinder open, a sealed envelope, a single die. Andrew recoiled. I will not play Russian roulette, he said, nor ask you to. She held up the revolver. It had been gutted, only a plastic prop. Symbol only. She set it down. The envelope holds my last vision before darkness. I wrote it at dusk, sealed it, cannot see what I wrote now. If probability bends, opening it should reveal a prediction, aligning with whatever random event you and I generate. Andrew rubbed arms against chill. And the die decides the random event? Yes. You roll. If it shows 1 or 2, we'll count carousel bulbs until a defective one appears. If 3 or 4, we'll listen for the first phrase spoken by a passerby. If 5 or 6, we'll open a random page of tonight's newspaper and read the first headline. Those events are outside our influence. And if the envelope's prediction matches, then my future isn't blank, it waits. And likelihood has rewritten itself. She swallowed. If it mismatches, we'll part ways forever and hope the world calms. Andrew thought of the towering improbabilities earlier. Matching should be effectively impossible. 1 prediction against 3 broad possibilities, subdivided into infinite specifics. He sighed. Roll the die, teacher. He cupped it, breathed once, cast. 5. Newspaper headline, then. Celestine nodded, produced a folded gazette from her satchel. Open at random. She handed it over. Andrew riffled, eyes closed, stopped, flattened the page. Midnight floodlights illuminated newsprint. The headline beneath his thumb read, Local teacher wins state lottery jackpot. His heart slammed. Teacher? He scanned article. It detailed a Mrs. Elena Prentice of Maple County who'd claimed $6.2 million. Not him. Still, teacher seemed personal. Madame Celestine's hand shook as she broke wax and slid out a single index card. She handed it to him. He read, A teacher touches fortune tonight. Vertigo tilted the world. He looked at her. Her face glistened with unshed tears. That could be coincidence, he croaked. Yet he knew odds shivered beyond comprehension. Predicting teacher and fortune within a tri-branched schema equaled lightning threading a needle. Celestine exhaled tremulously. So, the void was not void. It was undecided until you rolled. And now, Andrew asked, now, the universe outlines a script that includes us both. Her eyes, green and gray, searched his. But I still can't see what happens to me. Only that our combined presence strains fabric. Andrew glanced at the newspaper again, at the smiling photo of Mrs. Prentice. An idea flared. Teacher, fortune. He dug into his wallet, removed an unscratched lottery ticket purchased on a whim for a statistics lesson days earlier. I bought this to illustrate expected value. Haven't used it. He handed it over. Scratch, she whispered. Edge of a coin scraped. First number matched, second 2, third. Andrew's pulse hammered. 5 numbers later, the space under prize revealed $50,000. He laughed. Too loud. Half hysteria. Okay. Probability bent. He stared at the 2-inch cardboard, lighting their lives. What do we do with this? Celestine's smile folded like origami. Beautiful, fragile. Return the excess to the world. Donations, scholarships. Her hand brushed his. Sparks stung his skin. If we behave responsibly, maybe chance returns to neutral. But will we? He murmured. Humans err. Numbers forgive? I don't know. She stepped back. There's a man here who won't forgive, though. From dark behind carousel poles emerged Vince Rourke, carnival manager, thick-necked, gold tooth glinting. Andrew remembered him wandering earlier. Vince clapped slowly. Been hearing about your little parlor miracles, Celestine, and our mathematician friend. His gaze nailed the ticket. Imagine what y'all could do at my poker table. Celestine's shoulders tightened. It doesn't work that way, Vince. Forcing luck twists it uglier. Save the mystic mumbo. Me, I see profit. He produced a switchblade, thumbed it open with click metallic as moonlight. Hand over the ticket. Andrew's mind raced. Probability favored improbable outcomes. Knife violence felt too mundane. He raised palms. This is only 50 grand. Casinos will sniff you out. Vince snorted. You'll tutor me. He stepped closer. Night rides loomed silent. Celestine moved between them. Vince, stop! The current's already grown. Currents pay my bills? He lunged, grabbing her wrist. She winced. Andrew's fists clenched. He was no fighter. He looked around, saw a maintenance toolbox. Odds of hitting Vince with a random tool? Not good. Probability bending? Maybe excellent. He flung the box open, grabbed first thing, a rubber mallet. Vince laughed. Cute. Andrew swung. Mallet sailed wide and, improbably, struck the carousel's master switch. Lights exploded on. Calliope music blared, startling Vince. He jumped, releasing Celestine. The carousel jerked into motion, though no power should flow after hours. Horses churned, gears shrieked, panels flashed strobe lightning. Vince stumbled back and his foot caught on the bench. He toppled, the knife skittering beneath spinning platform. He cursed, scrambling after it, but a bronze horse's hoof knocked the blade under planks. He glared amid rotating beasts, but dared not climb aboard whirring machinery. This ain't over, he shouted, retreating into dark. Carousel slowed, lights fading as abruptly as they'd come. Andrew exhaled ragged breath. I could never replicate that, he said. Let's hope you don't need to, Celestine replied, rubbing her wrist. Police sirens wailed distant. Perhaps a guard triggered them after seeing lights. Andrew knew statements. Paperwork would follow. He pocketed the ticket. Will I see you again? She asked softly. If that stabilizes things, yes. If not, no. He studied her face. How do we determine which? She lifted the constellation domino from her pocket, Orion glowing faintly. When uncertainty overwhelms, follow the hunter, she said. That's all my sight grants. We could compute correlation coefficients, he said, attempting levity. She laughed, a sound like bells over water. Security arrived, explanations spilled. Vince vanished. By midnight, Andrew stood in empty parking lot. Celestine waited beside a rust-red truck packed with carnival supplies. She walked over. Our paths diverged tonight, she said. Tomorrow, the carnival moves north. He wanted to protest, but recalled skyrocketing sixes. Maybe distance heals the curve. Maybe, she agreed. But if the universe insists on reunion, we will know. Odds will nudge us. He handed her half the scratch ticket's value, on paper signed, to earmark scholarships for Pleasant Valley students. Until probability deals again, he said. She squeezed his hand. Warmth coursed up his forearm, neither magical nor mundane, simply human contact. Farewell, shepherd of numbers. Goodbye, oracle of uncertainties. 6 months later, Andrew Blake, checking papers on a blustery November day, glanced at the classroom television airing local news. A headline scrolled, Small Town Carnival donates thousands to student math program. The camera panned to a woman in twilight-hued jacket, presenting a check beneath a Ferris wheel. Her mismatched eyes caught lens, as if seeing him through glass and miles. Andrew smiled. Then the classroom door burst open. Jimmy Cortez rushed in, waving a quiz graded 100%. Mr. Blake, I finally nailed probability. Outside, thunder rumbled from a clear sky. So soft only Andrew flinched. He looked at the stormless horizon, wondering whether equilibrium was truly restored or simply dancing one step ahead. Whichever the case, statistics class would be interesting tomorrow. And somewhere amid fortune tents and number lines, uncertainty continued its subtle waltz, occasionally bending, always watching, never entirely solved.